Hello, everybody, and welcome. Tonight's video is a show and tell, and it is because this month is Women's History Month, and because I received this beautiful present from Bread and Butter ASMR. It was so sweet. She sent me a housewarming present, and I was so excited. And this is it. It is Women in Science 100 Postcards by Rachel Ignatowski. So I actually am familiar with her work because I purchased the book version of this for my niece, I think 2 years ago. And so I had seen her artwork before, and I really like her style, and I had kind of wished that I had bought a book for myself. So now I have these postcards instead, and I've already sent a few, so I don't have the full 100 anymore. I probably have like 95. There are some repeats. I think there might be 50 individual women, which is still a lot. So let's open it up. And just immediately, I love this box. It's a nice quality. It would go well in a bookshelf if I wanted to put it away. 50 fearless pioneers. 50 fearless pioneers who changed the world. So it, they even said here 50 images, 2 of each, 1 to share, 1 to keep. And I love that because actually the first thing that I did when I got this and I started going through all of these amazing ladies is I saw one of my own heroes and I framed her just immediately. Actually, I'll show you her first. So here she is in her frame, and her name is Rita Levi Montalcini. She was a neurologist and an Italian senator. I didn't remember that she became a senator, but she is famous for discovering nerve growth factor, or NGF. And so in my field of biology, that is really important. I did not study NGF, but I did study a very similar molecule called BDNF, or brain-derived neurotrophic factor. And so NGF was the first neurotrophic factor discovered, and it was done by her, by Rita Levi Montalcini. She was so cool. I mean, she was just an amazing figure. She was Italian, and so she said the nerve growth factor with her strong accent. She was Jewish and she survived World War II. and doing science all the while. And so they have a quote from her at the bottom, and it says, "Above all, don't fear difficult moments. The best comes from them." So that's kind of amazing. She's very cool. I never met her. She's passed, but my old mentor had met her, so I got to hear sort of personal anecdotes about her. And so I actually already mailed the other Rita from here to him, so I just sent it this weekend, and hopefully he'll get it soon. Okay, and so I already organized this a little into scientists that I was familiar with, and then ones I'd never heard of. But first, let's learn a little about the author here. So she did a little self-portrait, which is very cute. And it says, Rachel Ignatowski grew up in New Jersey on a healthy diet of cartoons and pudding. She now lives in Kansas City, Missouri, where she spends all day drawing and learning as much as she can. She has a knack for making dense information fun and accessible. She is passionate about scientific literacy and powerful women. She hopes these cards will inspire girls and women to follow their hearts and dreams. Okay, so let's pull some of these out. Let's grab a couple handfuls. Okay, so first, here are some women that I knew, like Ada Lovelace, or Lovelace. She was a writer and a mathematician. I believe that some of her math is involved in like computer algorithms these days. Just kind of amazing given how long ago that she lived. Here's a quote from Ada. Imagination is the discovering faculty, preeminently. It is that which penetrates into the unseen worlds around us, the worlds of science. I agree with that. And then, of course, Marie Curie, who I think is the most famous female scientist. She was famous even while she was living. She was really famous for being this female chemist. She won 2 Nobel Prizes. And so let's see what she said. I was taught that the way of progress is neither swift nor easy. That is good to remember. This is Elizabeth Blackwell. She was a British doctor, and I think one of the first women. Oh, America. I thought she was British. Did she move to America? Maybe I was wrong. But she was one of the first to be able to get her degree, because of course women have always practiced medicine. A lot of old things like witchcraft or midwives or all of these things were just medicine that women practiced, and because it was women, they weren't taken seriously. But she was the first woman in America to receive a medical degree, and she says, if the present arrangements of society will not admit of women's free development, then society must be remodeled. Okay, next we have Hedy Lamarr, and she was most famous for being a film actress, but she also was an inventor, and I think again she worked in computer science. Let's see, it says co-invented the technology to to use frequency hopping spread spectrum communication. So that sounds more like electrical engineering or something like that. Her work is used for controlling torpedoes, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, and military communication. So you might be using Hetty's work at this very moment. She says, "My father made me understand that I must make my own decisions, mold my own character, and think my own thoughts." And here we have Katherine Johnson, physicist and mathematician. And of course, she recently had a movie made about her, because she worked for NASA, and the movie Hidden Figures is about her and some other women as well. And so I don't think I knew her name before that, but now I recognize it. And let's see, she says, "The other women didn't ask questions or take the task any further. I asked questions. I wanted to know why. They got used to me asking questions and being the only woman there." And so Jane Goodall was a name that I'd heard growing up. A primatologist, ethologist, which just means someone who studies behavior, and anthropologist. So she, of course, is famous for being an expert on chimpanzees. Although I don't know if she ever carried 2 of them with her. Only when our clever brain and our human heart work together can we reach our full potential. And of course, Rosalind Franklin, who discovered the structure of DNA, and whose work was used by Watson and Crick to win a Nobel Prize. Yeah. I didn't know that she also worked on tobacco mosaic virus and polio. But X-ray crystallography is really difficult. It's a really difficult science, so anyone who can do that is amazing. And what she says is that science and everyday life cannot and should not be separated. And there were a couple more that I knew, but I don't see them, like Mae Jemison, who's an astronaut. Maybe we'll see her in here. But one thing that I like about this is that each woman has her own color scheme, and I think it just makes it so dramatic and beautiful. They all stand out from each other. And there are women throughout history and from around the world. I will say it is more heavily skewed toward the West, but there are also women from other places. And they also, I don't know if they're accurate, but these women in these pictures have so much personality. All these little details and designs. So Florence Bascom was a geologist, and we have the Earth's layers here. And she was an educator, first woman to work for the U.S. Geographical Survey. She's got a hammer in her hand and a rock in her other hand. There are crystals and ferns. She's got boots on and this beautiful hat. And then Mary Agnes Chase was a botanist. So there are all these fern drawings here. All these plants and vines. There's Wang Chun-yi, and she was an astronomer, a poet, and a mathematician. She wrote political poetry about injustice, and also she wrote about trigonometry. And so her First she's got the moon and clouds for the sky because she was an astronomer. And then there are constellations here. The Big Dipper. I think that's Cassiopeia, maybe. And then there are numbers here in Chinese. So, yeah. She said, "It's made to believe women are the same as men. Are you not convinced daughters can also be heroic?" I like that. Here's Mary Anning, fossil collector and paleontologist. And she's lying here with the bones of a dinosaur with a chisel in hand and a brush and a bonnet and all of these fossils. Let's get some more. Let's see what else we have in here. Nettie Stevens, who is a geneticist. She discovered the X and Y chromosome. And it says here that Miss Stevens had a share in a discovery of importance, and her work will be remembered for this. But I was never taught about her in school, and I've taken a lot of genetics, so maybe her work is remembered, but she is not talked about, which is too bad. Maria Sibylla Merian, scientific illustrator and entomologist. One of the first and most important entomologists. So she's surrounded by butterflies, some plants, with her paints and her jars. Scientific illustration is so wonderful, and I really admire people who can do it. Here's what she said. "Art and nature shall always be wrestling until they eventually conquer one another, so that the victory is the stroke and line." And here's Hypatia, astronomer, mathematician, and philosopher. One of the first recorded women to study and teach math. Barbara McClintock, a cytogeneticist. She was a pioneer in corn genetics, so she's got this nice autumnal palette here. All these orangey colors, and all of this corn here. Cecilia Payne Kaposhkin, astronomer and astrophysicist, discovered that the sun is made of hydrogen and helium gas. Joan Beauchamp Proctor. She says, "Why shouldn't a woman run a reptile house? Women are at work in my country and the rest of the world in all types of work and professions." She has here a reptile on a leash. Gertie Corey, biochemist. Look at all of her vials. These are so pretty. I would love it if my lab were this cute. Actually, at my new lab, most of our solutions are pink, so I'm almost there. I just gotta get a nice pink blouse to wear. Alice Ball, first African American and first woman to graduate from the University of Hawaii. She invented the ball method. She helped to cure leprosy with her chemical treatment. Men dominated higher education in 1915, and Alice Ball was admitted against the odds by Miles Jackson, University of Hawaii professor and dean emeritus. Marjorie Stoneman Douglas, writer and conservationist. Look at this little sea lion, and an alligator, a crane, and a turtle. Grace Hopper, Navy Admiral and computer scientist. Maria Goeppert Meyer, theoretical physicist. This is so beautiful. These atoms here, electrons and protons and neutrons. She's mapping something out here. She proved the nuclear shell model for atoms. That's why she's got so many atoms here. She won the Nobel Prize in Physics and gave us a better understanding of isotopes. I think we might go through almost all of them. Dorothy Hodgkin, biochemist and X-ray crystallographer. Rachel Carson, marine biologist, conservationist, and author. I love the coral around her. Chen Shengwu, experimental physicist. She was awarded the Medal of Science, disproved a law of conservation of parity. She says, the main stumbling block in the way of any progress is and always has been unimpeachable tradition. She sounds like a rebel. Mamie Phipps Clark, psychologist and civil rights activist. And she's got all these babies around her. And then, of course, the Capitol and a protest. Oh, so her work won the Supreme Court case Brown v. Board of Education. And her doll test and coloring test prove that segregation hurts children. So these aren't babies, they're dolls. That's really cool. Gertrude Elion, pharmacologist and biochemist. Sylvia Earle, look at her in this suit. Deep sea explorer, marine biologist, explorer, and aquanaut. There's an octopus and all these jellies and some deep sea fish. One with a little lantern to catch other fish. She made the deepest dive in 1979 and still holds the women's depth record. May Britt Moser, psychologist and neuroscientist. Elizabeth Blackburn, molecular biologist. She said, "Don't be afraid to ask people for help, and then feel free to ignore it." There are a few more in here. Let's see if I can get this out of the box. Patricia Bath, ophthalmologist and inventor. Look at all these eyeglasses. I love that. Christiane Nuslin Volhard, biologist. Jocelyn Bell she helped discover the Higgs boson. Jane Cook Wright, oncologist. Rosalind Yellow, medical physicist. Again, she's got all these beautiful test tubes and vials. It is a look. I wish I looked like that. Valentina Tereshkova, engineer and cosmonaut. She was the first woman in space. Vera Rubin, astronomer. You can see her big telescope. She discovered real proof that dark matter exists. That's so cool. Annie Easley, computer programmer, mathematician, and rocket scientist. You can see the nuclear reactors, the sun. Esther Letterberg, microbiologist. I think these little things that look kind of like sandwiches are supposed to be petri dishes. Oh, and here's a virus. These are viruses. And maybe bacteria or protozoa. Oh yeah, helped us better understand bacteria and viruses. Discovered lambda phage virus. Invented replica plating to study mutations. She says, you can begin anytime, even though it takes a lifetime to be good. Can you believe we still haven't gotten through all of them? There are still more talented, wonderful ladies. Lisa Meitner, or Lise Meitner, physicist, discovered and explained the workings of nuclear fission. Lillian Gilbreth, psychologist and industrial engineer. Emmy Noether, mathematician and theoretical physicist. Edith Clark, electrical engineer. We saw Marjorie already. Okay, that might be it. I know we've seen these ladies before. What about Cecilia Payne Gaposchkin? Yeah, I think we've made it through most of them, except for the ones who I've already sent out and I haven't found their doubles yet. But I love this postcard set. They are so beautiful and so perfect for me. And I hope you liked seeing them. If you would like a postcard, go ahead and let me know. I would love to send them. Friday is International Women's Day, so it's a good time to get a postcard. And as you can see, I have many. And I didn't show you the other sides of these, but they actually also have a little detail that I love. So in addition to telling you the dates that the women lived, they also each have their own individual design where the stamp goes that has to do with what they studied. And I love that. So really, these were made with such detail and care and love. And I just love looking at them. So I hope you have enjoyed looking at them with me. I hope you learned about a few more scientists today. Some you may have heard of, and some maybe were new. And I wish you a good night.